a child.
I'll vibe with that.
Tell me something.
Little switch up.
Just take the pain away. See, I've been thinking a million things I want to say. Now I'm looking in your eyes, but I'm wandering to your lips. See, I'm trying to keep it cool while I'm hovering for the kiss.
Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. I'm in the studio today, of course, with the man, the myth, the legend, the professor, ladies and gentlemen, rocking his Vikings tee because he knows it ain't going to happen. Codes, happy
Just one
Sunday.
before I die.
Just one before you die, Codes. How you doing, big guy? Welcome to the show. Happy Sunday. Hell of a weekend for some football, right?
Absolutely, man. I was cheesing the entire weekend. You know, we're fucking back.
We're
okay?
back, baby. Anybody who had any
we're back,
questions?
baby.
Anybody had any questions about it? I think that was answered. Chris Soil, what's up? West Day, happy birthday, big guy. To you, welcome to the show. We got already 23 people in here. I got a couple likes going. Show some love. Let's have a great show for you guys. Muddy says Jags have Clowney visiting today. Big time stuff there. We'll definitely get in.
We
We'll
were
get it.
talking about that earlier.
We'll get into that. Aaron Joyner, what's going on, baby? Pretty sure Clowney's signing with us. Look, we're going to go over a lot of things. Obviously, Jags and their preseason, what we thought about it, my feeling as a longtime fan of just being part of the Duval area, how that played out. AR, this is going to be a fun one. I feel like Cody and I have stamped ourselves as a scientist, as the expert on this situation, whether people agree with us or not. We've got a lot of eyes on Anthony for quite some time, so we'll see how that rolls out for him. Trask and Baker going at it. Interesting facts about what team they played for, their team 1 or team 2. So we'll get into that. And then Hard Knocks, hell of a way to kick it off, bro. Episode 1 came out on Tuesday. Episode 2 will come out this Tuesday. Freaking banger. I mean, dude, from the fact that we had the quarterback show on Netflix, then the Manziel story, now this, and then the Swamp Kings, it's been a hell of an offseason to get us through, boys. Kudos to the NFL for getting us here.
Yeah, this might be the best season of Hard Knocks. I cheesed for the entire 48 minutes.
Yeah,
I
was
just like
it felt really good. You love it. I love the behind the scenes. Like, they can't get rid of it. As I was watching it, I was thinking that the entire time. Tebow says 17 days. Godspeed. Says, show my boy. Jacob says, Mims, what's going on, man? How you doing? Fins, excuse me, not Mims. Who is the Steeler fan I saw on here? Where'd they go? Oh, Kenny says, let's go Gators and Steelers. How Trubisky's out there, right? Pickett and Trisky. We'll see. Over 37 people in here. Make sure you guys drop a like and subscribe. Happy to see you. AR, look like AR. We're gonna get into that. What do you want to go over first, Cody? You pick. You're the boss here, big guy. You're running the show.
Let's do the rookie roundup.
Already? Oh, the rookie
right off
roundup
the rip.
already. All right, hit him,
Yeah.
big guy.
All right, so Will Levis, he looked the part. Kind of little Brett Favre-ish to me. Big, strong arm, calm in the pocket. He threw 9 for 14, 89 yard completed passing, and a last-second INT, which was, really not his fault. He was just trying to air it out and let his receiver go make a play on it. A good 50-50 ball. But definitely looks like an NFL quarterback. And, he was one of the later round guys, and he looks better than all the others. What do you think about that?
We talked about that during the draft and where Levis would go. I expected him to go a lot higher, definitely a top 10 draft pick. I didn't expect him to fall to the second round. And early on in our college show on Wednesday, we said, hey, which quarterback do we think is going to be the most, in 3 years, the most successful? I was high on Levis. I was also high on Mr. Stetson Bennett, and I had my reasons for that too. But Levis was somebody that I was high on. Kind of got left out of the room, but the reason why, again, his draft stock was so high, why it went down, I don't know. Probably a lot to do with his interviews and his, just kind of his attitude, I think, knocked him down a little bit. And he kind of struggled this last year, but he gave you the most qualities for a NFL-type prototypical quarterback. And I think we saw that on Sunday. I think, again, the upside for the other three is much greater if they're able to achieve it. But Will kind of was, again, in my opinion, going to come in and be able to give you the most established, ready to go as soon as possible. Again, outside of Stetson, I thought that he was going to do well too. But I wasn't shocked about the Will Levis. CJ Stroud, I was a little surprised on. Bryce Young, I expected it, and AR was AR.
Yeah, real fast, Mr. Nobody. Make sure you get the Braille transcripts for your blind ass. No, Levis looked pretty
I
good.
don't only came here for the AR hate. I don't feel like we've hated on AR. I think we've been simply just reserved on the AR situation.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Will's level was garbage in the preseason. He's just hating. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just
No,
being-
Bryce, I'll tell you
Thank you,
who
Ryan. Bless
looked,
you.
who looked garbage was Bryce Young. Small in the pocket. This is kind of, his deal there. But I will tell you he was calm. It's like, I don't know if he's like sewing back there or knitting, but he does have a calm presence. The timing with the receivers was off. Yeah, it's preseason, and he did have the best pocket presence, but he only had 21 yards completion and passing.
Yeah, look, I think Bryce looked calm, like you said. That was the biggest thing. But for the best rookie, and they're already saying it in the chat, which I love, Stetson Bennett, hands down. And what was funny is you and I were talking before the show. You were like, hey, who do you think the best rookie was? And you're like, I think it was Will. And I was like, I think it was Stetson. You're like, I didn't even think of Stetson. And then he went and watched and he texted me. He's like, bro. I was like, I know. But he looked like a slinger out there. Look, this is something that I talked about time and time again because we give him crap for being 35 years old, but he has a ton of experience, a ton of it. He's going to be able to come right in and he's going to look like that. And Anthony doesn't have a lot of experience. Cedra has more than Anthony, and Bryce does too. The expectation for these young quarterbacks to come in and be like a Joey Burrow or Trevor Lawrence, which I believe those two are in a whole other tier. They're a generational quarterback. You're not going to get that at every first-round draft pick quarterback. You just maybe, and I understand Bryce was a number one, but he was a number one in an extremely weak quarterback class. So we got to understand that, look, can't expect too much. I understand it was the preseason, but just like a 5-star, when a 5-star comes into the league from high school, there's a high expectations. If you're the first round, number one overall draft pick, you better look like an absolute killer out there. And that's, I think, where the high criticism for CJ and Bryce comes because the expectations were so high. Anthony, in my opinion, like we said, went out there and did his thing. We have a whole thing for Anthony, so we'll get into that. But yeah, Stetson, I think, crushed it. Did a great job. Haters are going to hate on it, but he did a good job. Stetson looked like hot garbage.
Yeah, okay. Stetson went 17 for 29, 191 yards, and 1 tutty, 0 interceptions. So, I don't know. I mean, you can win a lot of games like that.
Yeah,
and that was like a quarter and a half.
See, what's unfortunate is obviously we have a lot of Gator fans in here. They're gonna just say Stetson sucks because Stetson, but he's looked good.
No, he's not gonna shock anyone, but he's gonna make the right throws. He's not.
Bro, he looked like a toddler back there. He looked like a little kid. He looked smaller than any of them. Yeah,
but he's gonna make the right throws. He's not gonna turn the ball over, and he's gonna, he looked good. I hate saying it, but he looked good.
Again, he was playing with the lowest part of the, I think, second and third team as well, too. Now he's playing against the easier defense, mind you, compared to the other guys. But, look, I think Anthony had a lot. He was playing against a very hungry, powerful defense in the Bills. So, a lot of that have effect. Let's just move in. Let's roll into Anthony. You want to do that since we're here?
We got CJ. Yeah, we got CJ left.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
CJ Stroud. So, welcome to the NFL, Mr. CJ. And a less than stellar performance. They're saying they want Miller over CJ Stroud is what the Texans Twitter fan base is saying. He looked terrible. I mean, he took a bunch of sacks. He threw an INT. He was rattled. And his knock in college was when he got pressure that he would throw errant throws, and that's exactly what we saw. Now, it's going to be a long season, Texans fans, because the offensive line does not look good. He doesn't look good. So, I'm not claiming him as a bust, but, I wonder if you just start Mills over him and not shatter his confidence early.
Yeah, I'm not going to hang it up on him just yet, but I've said it, I just said it a minute ago, I think these quarterbacks should probably not have to have the pressure on them that quickly, especially when in a team with like the Texans that aren't just missing one spot. I feel like with Trevor and the Jags, and we'll get into this with the Jags a little bit, but the other pieces have always kind of been slowly getting put together. They were just missing that general. The Texans have a lot of holes that need to be filled. The Panthers have a lot of holes to be filled. The Colts aren't as much as of a deep into situation. The Tennessee Titans are, again, kind of the same way. Yes, Tannehill is sliding out of that general role, but he's still able to get it done, and the team's still pretty healthy, built around him, but they're looking for that next spark to put them over the edge because Tannehill just doesn't have it in him. You know what I mean? He's kind of like always just good enough to get you there, but not get you over the hump kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm not going to sell on CJ just yet, but I wasn't sold on him early on either.
Yeah, Tannehill kind of reminds me of Case Keenum. He could, get hot, win you a bunch of games, but he's not going to...
Alex Smith-like. You're kind of the same.
Yeah,
that's play style, but yeah, good point. All right, let's we got to talk about AR because I'm chomping at the bits here.
AR.
Yeah. Tell him.
Yeah, his first start looked like Rocky Road ice cream. Not great, man. It was everything that we have been saying, and I called you earlier today, and I said this is the same AR we saw at Florida, and I wonder if he is gonna be gonna be one of those quote practice Hall of Famers like Sam Bradford, make all the throws in practice, but when the lights turn on, I don't know if he has it. He had like 4 or 5 high throws, a miss INT. He did have one beautiful deep ball, which we've seen before, that was dropped by his wide receiver, which didn't help. But a lot of the stuff that he threw was hot and it was high, and that's the worst thing you could do is to light a laser beam 100-mile-an-hour fastball in there high, leaving your wide receiver's ribs exposed, and there was a lot of that. He did have a little 5-yard RPO play that was I can see the Eagles' offense in that, and it was a kind of a read option. It was really really well executed. It was a little 5-yard deal. He took a hit at the end at the sidelines, but this is what we were saying all along. And this isn't hate. This is just it's just the facts. Facts don't have feelings, right? And so it's one of those things where AR just didn't, for all the hype, I thought we were going to see something else, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Look, so I don't think it was a rocky start. I think I get where you're coming from posting it as rocky because the expectation, I feel like we kind of were even drinking the Kool-Aid and bought into the noise coming out of camp.
Yeah, they said that he was like a totally different quarterback with great pocket presence and making the throws. And I just didn't see it.
I think he had great pocket presence. I think he was more aware. He didn't seem to be rattled as much where he kind of sat back there and waited, made his throw. Now, the throw still seemed like AR, right? High, hot, short passes came in at 90 miles an hour. Him having NFL quality wide receivers definitely helped. Right? They were making those catches where a lot of times last year our guys are dropping those catches and probably are dropping more so than they should have, which made them look worse. Again, we're being extremely critical, I think, as you should expect, and that's what you're saying. Hey, you're coming for the hate. Again, we're being reserved simply. Look, you're. I think Cody, you're kind of holding a line, which I appreciate. I like that. And look, for me, I think we're critical because we've seen this. We've read this book. We preach it week in and week out. It's hard for me to get too excited for it. I think he looked better than CJ and Bryce. I do believe that. In all honesty, I think he made good throws. Look, his interception was an errant throw and it was forced. What was the reason? What was the cause? One, it was forced, but two, it was just hot and heavy. Had a riser, right? Little two-seamer, hot and high and in. So that seems to be still there. And again, this was that first real game. Didn't throw much. So what, like 16 passes, 15 passes? Well, actually, that's pretty healthy. It wasn't a perfect 6 for 6 like Minshew, but it was up there.
Well, and you asked me if Minshew would take over, and I don't think that the owner of the Colts, I don't care what the coaching staff says at this point. The guy writing the checks is not going to allow that to happen. Yeah, Ventrell Miller did have a nice sack on Greer. Thank you, Aaron Joyner. Somebody got a new Ventrell Miller jersey.
I did. Thank you. I should have
here.
wore it today. I have to wait till season 1. Yes, Cody sent me a Ventrell Miller Jaguars jersey, which was absolutely incredible, and I love it, and I can't wait for it. Can't wait to wear it all.
Yeah,
season.
man. I do this little thing, and the wife probably doesn't love it, but I do buy a new jersey every year for one of the teams that I watch. So
I love that.
just trying to hand on the tradition.
Yeah, no, I love that. I appreciate you bringing me into that. It means a lot. But
Trask
we'll
and Baker.
yeah, we'll see real quick. Let's go in the comments because they're over here arguing about it. It says, bro, having a huge arm doesn't make you good. You have to learn some touch. I think that's what you were just saying, Hall of Fame. I don't know if you're yelling at us, but that's exactly. Look, I think he has a phenomenal arm. It's just learning, and that's to me when watching Stetson. Stetson just has the touch. So does Will. Right? These guys are showing that control and composure throughout. And again, it's preseason, right? I mean, we're over here chomping at the bits, and I get that, but
It
what we're
took the
working
Hall
with.
of Famer Brett Favre 4 or 5 years to learn the touch.
Brett Favre didn't need to learn to touch. Nathan Rourke looked good. Yeah, well, we'll get into that as well, too. Over six people in here, boys. Make sure you guys, again, drop a like, show some love. Appreciate you guys coming in here and hanging out with us. Look, Smokey Gator says, still cannot turn his back to the defense on play action. I did notice a play where he turned. I was wondering. I saw him turn his back, and he came back, and I think he either got sacked or threw it away. It wasn't a completed pass. He looked phased. Looked like he kind of forced it out, and I was wondering the same thing. I wondered if the team knows he's having trouble with it or had trouble with it and they're working with it, or if it's kind of just been overlooked. Again, these are all things that I have questions about, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, let's go on to Trask and Baker. Hit him with it.
Yeah, for sure. So Trask and Baker, man, they are in a brutal battle here. And so what they are going to do is Baker got the start with the first team reps this week, and then next week Trask will get the start with the first team for the preseason game. So Baker won this week, and Baker went 8 for 9, 63 yards, 1 touchdown. And Trask went 10 for 6, 99 yards, and an INT and 3 sacks. So I'm just going to say Trask looked a little uneasy. Baker looked a little calmer in the pocket. He had a little bit better touch on the ball. And so we're going to see next week what Trask is going to do with the first team ones. This is going to be very big for Trask, because if he can produce kind of the same thing as what Baker did, then it's going to be locked up 1-1. Right now it's 1-0. I have it. Baker won this week.
Well, it is important to know, like you said, Baker was playing with the ones, Kyle with the twos. But this is something that I preached early on in the preseason. Now, Kyle has obviously had a phenomenal offseason thus far in fall camp, but Baker carries the swagger of just being a known starter, playing the game for a couple more years than Trask is. And yes, he's going to look a lot more comfortable back there, definitely in a preseason game, than Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask still looked really good. Stepped into his throws, made phenomenal throws. I just don't feel like he carries the swagger like Baker does in the pocket. And that, look, at a quick eye test, with it being a first, just 2 quarters compared to one another, that's how it's going to look. But I think Trask will, hopefully have a better game, next week and look a little more comfortable and more in that role like he should be there. He looked in a way kind of like the rookies did, right? Look, they know what they're doing. They understand the role, but like it's just an eye test. It's hard to explain. It's just like anything. It's like somebody their first time behind a microphone. You could tell, right? And then by the 10th time, you could just tell that they're having a conversation with themselves. So that's how it looked for me with Baker versus Kyle. Kyle has the mechanics to get it done. We'll see if he finds himself a little more comfortable come week 2. I think he will, but it's interesting because of how this is changing weekly. I mean, just last week we were writing Baker off according to what we were hearing from practice, and now when it comes to here's where we're at. I think the same thing should probably get a little closer for AR and Minshew, but I just think the politics there aren't going to work the same.
Yeah, and the thing with when you say that, I think the biggest thing is Baker's kind of a gamer.
100%. He's like what Manziel was in college. Like, didn't need to read the film, just gets the job done. And look, those things, you're going to win a lot of starting jobs with these young quarterbacks just because they do look uncomfortable. They don't have the confidence that Baker carries. They have all the skills, all the techniques, but they lack the confidence. And sometimes that confidence is enough to get you through. And that's kind of where Baker's been, I feel like, these last few years, and what probably will edge him out early on against Kyle. We'll see how it plays out, but that's
Baker feels almost like a Fitzmagic 2.0.
He's kind of like towards the end.
Yeah, like when he gets hot, he's hot, and then when he's bad, he's bad.
Yeah, it's like a
Um,
Linsanity kind of moment from to a basketball
yeah,
comparison. Yeah, I mean
yeah,
Fitzy
for
kind
sure.
of was had his run, but it was late for sure. I wouldn't compare Kyle to the old Fitz magic. Let's take
No,
it
I was
easy.
talking Baker.
Okay, okay. Well, I got you with the swagger. Okay,
Yeah,
all right, that's
yeah,
fair.
yeah, for sure. No, he's just a gamer, and I think that's an attribute that is not taught. It's not coachable. It's just when the
You
lights
got
turn on, you're just good.
you got it. You got it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
What you want to do? You want to do Jags or you want to do
let's
Hard Knocks?
yeah, let's knock Jags out. Let's talk about these boys here, man. I'm excited to talk about this. You had your look, it's been good. Like we kind of have two different takes and taste on these. Like obviously your AR, you're a little more critical than I was, and I think for the Jags, you were as well too. But we'll get into that. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of seems like to me that T Law struggled a little bit today, or the other day, through the INT, and which it was that was a wide receiver core's fault because they ran the wrong routes. You'll never have two wide receivers within 3 yards of each other. That shouldn't have happened. So I don't know if that was which wide receiver it was that messed that up, but somebody definitely ran a wrong route. So let's take the INT out of there, and had a couple deep shots I saw. Something that they were known for last year, but the drops is really killing them. The wide receiver room is very concerning. We heard about drops last week. We reported it on this show during practice, and it has continued to come on into the preseason, and that's kind of concerning because at the beginning of minicamp and training camp, these guys were running on all cylinders. I don't know what has happened, but the drops are very concerning for me. Is it something that they can work out? Absolutely. Is it timing? I think it's a little bit of timing. But
This, I mean,
it's
look,
one of those
I swear,
things
this is where
where you
Code and I
have to.
disagree a little bit. It was a lot of younger guys, so let's not get it crazy. It was the younger guys. I mean,
The wide receiver room is still the wide receiver room, and
Lawrence
you
was
have to
5 for
hold them
6 with an
accountable.
interception. So the 5 balls that he threw were caught. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as the balls that he's tossing around are being juggled, I'm cool with it.
Okay, I get that. That's fine. I'm just saying that the depth in the wide receiver room is a little concerning. You have one or two guys get nicked up, and next thing you know, you're dropping balls. And
Easy.
that was a plague 2 years ago. Is that the wide receiver room? That's why they revamped the wide receiver room because they were dropping a bunch of balls. Am I wrong?
Damn, somebody pissed Cody off. Look, I get it.
No,
I get where you're
no,
coming from. I think, but look, I think the interception was, I think Trevor just feeling confident. I was talking with a buddy of mine who's a Jaguars fan too, and every year you leave preseason, it's just like the Gators. You're in the honeymoon stage. You got this buzz that, this is the year. This is gonna be it. In that division with the Colts and the Texans and Titans, it always feels like it's open for business, right? Every year you come into it, and every year we go into preseason, and there's a lot of question marks that have to be answered. Who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to be the linebacker? Who's going to be the wide receiver this year? Who's going to be the coach? There's always one missing piece. But the main missing piece has always been the leader of the bunch, the general, the general is Trevor Lawrence. And I don't think anybody's been ever as comfortable with the quarterback in Duval than we have been, since Burnell or Gerard, right? David Gerard. So this is kind of where Trevor has been able to do that. The wide receiver core, everyone feels really comfortable about. The running back room is exceptional, right?
Yeah, we're about to get into that. Yeah.
It has been exceptional. And the line, I mean, the D line looked great. The O line, there's definitely some areas that need to be worked out. But I just think with how much explosiveness the offense has, it's going to, help the O line a little bit because the D's going to have to play on their heels, saying what's Dougie P got coming at me next. I think they're going to be a very high up tempo offense, which is going to help with Trevor getting a lot of yards, which we talked about last week. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Let's lean into that right away. Trevor Etienne looked better this game, this preseason game. Squared his shoulder up, gashed the line of scrimmage like what we talked about last week. Dougie P won what they were working on, and he had a 10 to 12-yard run. Now he did try to bounce one outside at the very beginning, and I think Dougie P kind of maybe got in his ass a little bit, or the running back coach, and was just like, no, we're not doing this anymore. And the next, or 2 plays later, he did gash the defense for like a 10 to 12 yard run. And it's just proven that, look, bouncing and outside, it'll work sometimes, but you can't rely on that. You got to attack the line of scrimmage. So Trevor looked good, but his counterpuncher Tank Bigsby had a beautiful 25-yard run. And that is something I'm super excited to see, is a 1-2 punch with Trevor and Tank. I think you might have top 3 1-2 punch running backs in the league this year. I think it's something that's going to be very special. It's going to take a lot of heat off of the passing game. It's going to take a lot of heat off of Trevor. I think it's something to be really watching.
Yeah, look, again, going back to the past of being a Jaguar fan, typically when you've watched the preseason, it's just like, all right, look, guys, things are coming together, right? There's some surprises here. This year, it just looked like we were like the Patriots and the Chiefs and the teams that have been good for a long time. Just go through preseason, kind of just you're not worried about anything. You're going through some motions, kind of check some boxes off, and everything just was flowing. And that again, it's how it's felt. And yes, the running back room looked exceptional. And Muddy says, I want to apologize to our first round offensive tackle, Anton Harrison, because he looked great, and he did look great on that right side. He was holding up very well against the D1 line against Cowboys. In the red zone, we scored a touchdown. If you go watch that play, he held up on a little trick that was pulled up on him, on a little switch, on a little cut route on him, I think. And look, he looked good. They all looked good. I'm excited for what's to come, and the buzz is just, look, it's wide open. There's no reason why we don't just storm through this division, especially, with it all being essentially rookie quarterbacks outside of Tannehill. So those are automatic W's in a sense. I think the Titans, that's going to be a tough game because it's the Titans, and if Tannehill's playing, it's still going to be a competitive team. They still have Derrick Henry, but things are coming together for the Jaguars, and they could be taking that place of the Bills. That rotation right now, it seems to be, it's the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Bills. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags could be placing themselves in that roundup there, where those are the three coming down to the wire, and it's going to come down to home field advantage, which gives you the edge over Patrick Mahomes or Jamar Chase. Being able to have that game last year in Duval compared to Kansas City, I mean, that's a 7-point swing right there, right? So that's going to be something that, again, plays into why we need to dominate the schedule so we can coast in and get that number 1 seed to possibly get a bye plus that home game as well. So,
yeah. Next up on Jags preseason game review, the defense, man. The defense, the secondary looks really, really good. The only concern I have is the pass rushing behind of the superstar edge, Josh Allen, is kind of anemic. But the secondary, the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s all look good. That's probably why Clowney was there today, because they saw what I saw. They said we need another pass rusher outside of Josh Allen, and I think that's what they're looking at. They saw, some of these guys like Chason and them, they're going to end up getting cut because they're not doing their job. And that's what we talked about 5 or 6 weeks ago about the Jaguars offense or defensive line, is that guys that were kind of on the fringe, right? And guys that we thought they could bring in. Now we thought the other guy, Ngakwe, was kind of a shoe-in, but whatever. Clowney, Ngakwe, whatever. We talked about it, potential Jags on this show. Just batting a fucking 1,000 here, chugging Butch Lights and getting everything right. What more do you want?
Yeah, I'm reading about it now. It says, look, the pass rush unit has, Trayvon Walker with Josh Allen, Chasson as well, and then Jordan Smith and Yasir Abdullah, who he's a rookie. He got drafted, I think, 3rd round this year. Again, you were able to add Jadeveon Clowney to the mix. It's just again, the pieces are coming together. That team is becoming absolutely a nasty and a threat to be reckoned with. We were talking about the wide receiver core. Where does it rank? Top 5, top 3. You got to put the Eagles and the Chiefs up there. They're just, kind of kicking ass and taking names. Chargers are up there. But I think with Ridley now, and if he's able to be at the form that we expect him to be, yeah, they're definitely up there as well. So, again, the hype is only going to continue to grow with each passing preseason. I think we probably see one more full game from T. Not a full game, but see him play this game too. And then I think game 3, which is the last one, probably won't even see the starting lineup. It'll just be working out a few kinks. So hopefully, that's where Miller will get a few more reps to see if he can get some starting time this year. But should be fun.
Yeah, for sure. And if they do sign Clowney, that'd be a right prediction from us because we predicted it like 8-10 weeks ago.
Yeah, said it'd be a good marriage for sure. Good stuff. Moving on, we'll talk about Aaron saving Wilson. This one's actually pretty cool, man. You learn a lot with watching, obviously, the Hall of Fame game, week 1 of the preseason for them, and then on top of Hard Knocks as well.
For sure. And I'm going to tell you this. Aaron Rodgers might be saving Zach Wilson's career.
Sure.
They are 2 peas in a pod. It's not like what we thought early when Wilson was kind of being a dick about it, and when they brought Aaron in, and I'm sure he had pride about him and that he was upset about it. But it seems like those guys are 2 peas in a pod. Zach is mimicking. I saw a play today that was the announcers literally said this is Rodgers 2.0. It was a touchdown or 2-point conversion where the tight end kind of floats in the backfield. He rolls out and throws him the ball and wide open. So it seems like that Rodgers has taken control of this offense and taken control of this quarterback room. And this is probably the best thing for Wilson. Because as of last year, he was not and he got thrown into a tough spot. He was not going to be the guy, but I think Wilson could maybe be the guy under 2 years of Aaron Rodgers, or 3 years, whatever his contract is, of Aaron Rodgers' tutelage.
This is just supporting everything I've been saying this entire show and for the last 3 shows, that these first-round quarterbacks that come in, 90% of them aren't ready to take the realm right away. Some just may need a year, some may 2, but this is exactly what Wilson needed to have happen. You got a kid coming out of BYU to go take over the New York Jets, which was in shambles, mind you. It was in a rebuild process, and they're thinking he's part of this rebuild. Yes, he can be part of the rebuild like this, right? You bring in like a Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, a Jimmy Garoppolo, and Alex Smith. The Chiefs did it perfectly. You went out and got Patrick Mahomes, 13th overall, let him sit behind a year with Alex Smith. Absolutely huge what it did for his career. If you don't think that year behind Alex, allowing Reed and them to get the rest of the pieces kind of established, and it's like, okay, here's the missing piece. He's ready to go. We need that flavor. Let it ride. That's how it's going to work. Is Zach Wilson going to go out and be the guy right after this year? I don't think so, but I definitely think this is going to boost his confidence and boost his ability that other quarterbacks that were drafted alongside of him that are going to have. Carson Wentz won't seem to have this luxury. I don't think Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, none of those guys are going to be able to have this luxury. That would all benefit from something like this. And kudos to Aaron for kind of, I think he's at that point. It's like the old dad or old grandpa in the room that sees all the years have gone by. Buddy Earl's 22, and it's like he's at the house and he realizes he was a dick for the last 10, 12 years, because he had this pressure of stress of being a new dad. Just that basic shit. And he's like, you know what? I've got a second opportunity to make up for it with my grandkid here in Zach Wilson, and I got to do it.
Yeah, and they seem to really like each other a lot, which is kind of cool, which is kind of what you want. And man, I think if the Jets really won on this, if they can win a bunch of games and or a Super Bowl with Rodgers, and 2, have their next quarterback of the future now being tooled under Rodgers, and Wilson becomes something. Yeah, it didn't happen right away, but I think it's a win-win-win. Am I wrong?
Yeah, no, 100%. They bought now and into the future because of Zach Wilson. Hopefully, like you said, being able to take away from this and get better. Yeah, I think you're spot on. And at the time, if like the Jets were going all in and selling it on Rodgers, which they still are, but they've bought themselves probably time after the Rodgers, unlike what the Rams did with Stafford. They've kind of given away their future. And I got Stetson coming in, but it's not the same thing. I also too, real quick, little side note. I love watching Rodgers and Zach on the Hard Knocks, and Rogers it's like the Vinatieri, Janikowski type where they're just rocking the 1972 football helmet. The rest of these cats, like Rogers, bro, there's nothing in
And
there. It's just a fucking dome. It's a plastic dome that he got
Yeah.
at the Walmart store on the way there. That's what it is.
Same thing as those mini helmets are made out of.
Exactly the same. You Sacks like all like got this like shit and it's like little square spot and you could see all the foam kind of coming out of it. And Rogers has like like just basically like a diaper, like a
Yeah,
strap,
like a
It's just,
leather strap.
yeah, like it feels like it's full blown like
You know what's-
1972.
What's funny too is that Wilson had his arms kind of taped up to where it made it looked
Yeah,
and
look
then
yoked.
all swagged out with and he goes quarterback number 1 doesn't have any guns, so I might as well show him off.
That's fair.
And then Rogers said something about showing off them guns are gonna get you drug tested.
That's true. It's true too. I loved it.
Little D ball
Yeah.
melting the cup.
Melting the cup, boys. So speaking of Hard Knocks and the boys, it's been incredible. It's been incredible.
For sure. This is a much needed deal by Hard Knocks. Listen, after the quarterback frenzy took the world by storm from NFL Films, they NFL Films kind of said, "Hold my bush light," and let's give a whirl at it with Hard Knocks. And this might be the final season of Hard Knocks. We don't know, but this is going to be the greatest season with Aaron Rodgers and the buzz around the team. I mean, his teammates are constantly talking him up about how great he is, the no-look throws, the veteran presence. I mean, I'm excited. I cheesed for the entire documentary, and I'm sitting there just uploading, hoping that the next one has dropped. And I'm telling you, they have got something there. Rodgers seems refreshed. The team seems refreshed. The team loves him. Even the defensive players love him. And that's usually not a deal there. The hype on the team, not the hype from the outside attributes of like us and ESPN and Fox and everything, but the actual hype on the team are like, oh my God, we got a guy. We have something special here. And so it's one of those things where it's pretty incredible to literally see in front of your eyes, right?
Yeah, dude, it was so, like you said, I think it's fun to see Rodgers being loved by everybody because we've talked on the show before. He seems like a dick, and then he goes on the Pat show and he seems cool as hell, and it's like, what is it? And now he goes on this, and everyone's like, yeah, he's sick. I don't know why everybody's hating on him now. They've got him out again at this time in his life where things are going by really quickly, and he's trying to just kind of enjoy the moment. But you're thinking it's going to be the last one. I was thinking as you were saying that, because they usually do an in-season Hard Knocks. They did the Cardinals last year, which was awful. Could they double up here? Could they give us the double uno and go out on a bang if it is the last one? I don't think that it is. I feel like because of how great episode 1 was, the hype behind the God voice that Aaron kept referring to, flies the man in on a helicopter, first practice he's been to. They're doing a good job of getting you excited about it, and they did a great job of picking a fun team. And even he asked, he's like, why do we not want to do this? And it's exactly what we said. It's just a distraction, and teams are trying to get their shit in order. And the Patriots never had to do one. Look how many Super Bowls they got over the last decade to show for. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do I need to continue to do this for? Especially with all just the media that's in there currently. But again, I think this goes to show you that we need to appreciate how fun these things are just by watching this one here, getting a taste of this, getting this side of Rodgers. And I asked you before the show, I was like, can we look and see if anybody that's ever been on Hard Knocks has won the Super Bowl? And you said no. And I feel like this is probably our best opportunity for that happening. Sure. And that's why I was like, look, if you can double up, you do this camp during the season and they win that bitch, you have just now rejuvenated Hard Knocks to its fullest potential. And you have to remove those stupid rules that you have and go after you're telling somebody, no, this is in your contract to be a part of the NFL, is you have to do these regardless of what you're doing. And we can't go back to back like maybe seasons, but teams need to allow this stuff to kind of happen. And just look, this one doesn't feel like they're pulling guys off as much. I could be wrong, but it felt like they were just really capturing the moments raw as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't feel that they're doing a bunch of one-on-one videos. So I might actually win my bet on Rodgers doing a personal interview. I think I said that 3 was the under, and I might actually win that because he didn't do a single one in episode 1.
No, he did.
Not a set him down like the other guys. No. He never went into the
They had
little
a clip. No, they had a clip. He was on a football field.
doesn't count. They gotta sit him down one-on-one.
He was one-on-one. Okay, not like
No.
talking to the voice of God. You're talking like undressed, like showered up, sitting down. I'm pretty sure he had one.
I'll have to rewatch it. He may have had one. We'll have
we'll
have to tally it up.
I'm pretty sure he had one. So, but yeah, look, I think, and Coach Robert, obviously, just his energy, his charisma on the team. Everyone just seems just locked in over there and dialed in, and just seeing Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner just go at it, that was incredible to watch. Just like, I mean, this team is going to be a force to be reckoned with. Again, tough division they're going to be playing in. Yeah, the defense looks good. Rodgers is just such an improvement to that team and what he brings. Just not on one side of the ball, on both sides of the ball. Even the defensive coordinator was fired up. He's like,
they believe in him.
Yeah, the defensive
believe in
coordinator.
him.
One of the clips, Rodgers throws an over the shoulder, which they were claiming was a sack, but little corner route for a touchdown to win the practice. And he's like, look, nobody else in the league is making that throw, but thankfully he's on our team. And it's like that's going to make the defense better because just obviously going up against that. He's a huge attribute to the team, a team that was, in my opinion, already good. But yeah, it's the Hard Knocks is incredible. I hope this rejuvenates the segment. I think we've been spoiled over the last few months with Manziel and now this and with Swamp Kings coming up. Yeah,
Do you think it's better than quarterbacks?
Yes.
Or on the same level?
I think there's too many it's like the voice of God and just the nostalgia of what Hard Knocks brings. It has a culture to it that
the NFL music behind it.
Yeah, right. Where it just it gets you fired up. Where the quarterback is very off brand, which it was still good, right? It's like you got Bose headphones and then like a knockoff from the Five Below. Like, hey, it looks great, sounds great, but it's just not the same. I can't tell you what the difference is, but it's not the same. But yeah, I think it's better. The quarterback was great because you got a lot of it, and I think Mahomes winning the Super Bowl made it that much better, and the drama with Mariota made it better too. But this doesn't even have drama, and it's good just because of the characters involved and how in-depth you get with it.
Yet
what? Oh, you think there's drama coming?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yeah, there's a fight or two.
So what about freaking Sean Payton? I sent you the clip.
Dude,
taking jabs again. What is taking a jab at Sauce Gardner, right? Wearing a bucket hat, glasses. He's like, you're not going to see any of our guys, and literally described Sauce Gardner head to toe and what he was wearing. Like, are you good?
That guy's nah, dude, he ain't good. He is I have no respect for him. You know, and I didn't have, being a Vikings fan, I didn't have respect for him after Bountygate. I don't like him. He's Brian Kelly-esque. He's grimy. I don't like him.
I just don't understand.
That guy is
you've
so
been out of
fucking
the
worried
league.
about everybody
Yeah.
on.
What are you doing?
Yeah, you're been irrelevant for years and years and years. Yeah, you won a Super Bowl after fucking Katrina. I can't even remember that was. That was like I was like in high school, like middle school. Like, are you kidding me? And then you want to come out and take shots? I'd be worried about Russell Wilson, what he looked like during the preseason game compared to what Sauce Gardner was dressed in during their preseason game, because that offense looked fucking abysmal.
So he calls out Aaron Rodgers, or the Jets, right? And they're winning the offseason and criticizing Nathaniel Hackett. But you have now came out when, I don't know what the question to him is to provoke that kind of answer, but if you don't want to win the offseason, why do we keep hearing about you shitting on somebody else? Clearly you're trying to win the offseason, but
I'm
not
watching
win the
week 4. Week 4, Jets versus Broncos.
It's
I
got to
hope
be.
Aaron
It's got to be
lays
Monday night
100 on
football.
him.
You got to give me Monday. You
It's
got to
gotta
give that
be.
to me on Monday night. You got to give me Monday Night Football. The Manning breakdown. That's what I need. That's what has to happen. They owe us that. It's the least they can do. All right, boys. We're going on to our next segment here. Hold them or fold them. We've got Eagles, Chargers, and the Detroit Lions.
All right, let's start off. 9-8. They were second in the North. The Detroit Lions. Will they win the North? And will they make the playoffs? I don't think they've ever won the North. So
I'm holding on the Lions there. I know it's going to piss you off, and I kind of did that on purpose.
okay,
But
so you folded on the Jets last week, and you're holding on the Lions.
the fold and I texted you. I sent you the clip. I go, can I pick my cards back up on the Jets? But the Jets was to make it to the Super Bowl, not win their division. It was make it to the Super Bowl, and I feel like that's a high risky hand. Like if we're watching ESPN, it has a percentage next to my cards. It's going to be like a 27%. I feel like holding this card with the Jets, I'm looking like a 72%. My chances are good, so I'm gonna see the river, sir. That's where I'm at with the Lions.
Okay. And then we have the Eagles, 14-3. They were first in the NFC East. Will they make it to the Super Bowl again, and will they repeat close to that record?
I'm not sold on Jalen. I think he did a phenomenal job. I think he's a good quarterback, but I think
Now they added a bunch of talent on that defense.
They
bunch
did.
Of Georgia
they did.
players.
I don't know. I think I'm not sold on them. For Super Bowl, I'm going to say fold. Super Bowl is fold. That's a
Okay.
big one. I think it's a reasonable ask, but I got to fold. I don't see him going back to back, losing their offensive coordinator, going to the Colts. I think he really helped Jalen find and be himself. I think whoever comes in is going to expect more out of Jalen, and we might see ourselves what Saban did last year with Bryce Young, where they put too much pressure on him and expect him to get them out of certain situations where, because of the talent they think they have or believe they have, I think they get too consumed with it. So I'm folding.
And rookies are rookies, right? And we know that. And on the defensive side, it does take a couple of years for those guys to develop. So I get it. Chargers, 10-7 last year. They were second in the AFC West. Will they win the AFC West, and will they make a deep playoff run?
Oh, this is a tough one. AFC West. There's no way they win it. So I'm going to fold on them winning it. I don't think they get
Because
past
of
it's the Chiefs.
the Chiefs.
The Chiefs, I think the Broncos are going to be better. I think that division's going to tear each other up. I think the Raiders aren't going to be good, but they're going to be annoying. You know what I mean? They're gonna ruin somebody's day. And if it's a day they ruin, it'll be the Chargers' day they ruin, if I had to guess. So I just don't see them winning the West. I think it's the Chiefs until the Chiefs just choose that it's not the Chiefs. Until Mahomes isn't there, I can't put the Chiefs not winning it. Now, making a deep playoff run, I'm going to say no again, too, because if the Jaguars are there, the Jaguars should be there. You got the Bengals that should be there. The Chiefs will be there. And then the Jets, the Bills. You know what I mean? I mean, it's going to be the same as it was last year. And I don't think the Chargers are better than the teams that I just mentioned. I just don't. Herbert's a great quarterback, but he hasn't proved to me that he can that he's just a stone cold killer. So I'm another fold. I don't think it's going to be a deep playoff run.
Out of 2 weeks, you're only holding the Lions.
I'm only holding the Lions, and it sounds crazy, but look, at some of them I feel like, and you're not wrong, but it's just, I don't know, I'm running out of teams to go for, I guess. I'm not really, though, because you haven't asked me about the Bengals. You haven't asked me about the Jags.
No.
You haven't asked me about the
saving
Chiefs. I know. I'm just trying to make sure I can't fold everybody, right? Because someone's got to play in the championship.
Yeah.
The Bills
For
you did
sure.
ask me about. What did I say? I said I folded on the Bills because I'm high on the
You
Jets.
folded on the Bills. Yes.
That's fine.
Yes,
That's
yes.
fine. Okay. And then we
The
haven't
Cowboys you folded on.
Cowboys because of the Eagles and the Giants. I think those two are going to be competitive. We haven't done anybody from the West yet, which I'm folding every team in the West. And then you gave me a North team. Like I went high on the North team. In the South,
I didn't give you nothing from the South either, which
That's
is
pretty wide open.
Shoot.
yeah, it's a pretty wide open. So
It's coming.
I think I'm
It's
pretty
coming.
spot on. I think I'm pretty spot on. We'll have to have like a recap. I mean, I think we could probably pretty quickly to see again, you're asking me shootout questions where I'm more than likely to be right.
Oh, don't twist it to make it sound like you're really twisting your arm for it.
Well, like you're asking me if guys a team's gonna make a Super Bowl. There's only two teams that'll make it. So I'm gonna be right more than I'm gonna be wrong. Is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Give me more like playoff ones, winning the division. You know, those put me in some hot water. Yes, Super Bowl. Ask me so who's gonna make Super Bowl is kind of a softball. It's look, it could work out, but it's a crapshoot. So my odds tell me to go the other way. Always if you're watching ESPN, the percentage on the bottom of all those questions is like 10 to 9%. I'm not gambling. I'm not in the gambling mood right now. We're early into the tournament. No need for me to blow up my load just yet. You're welcome there for a little poker analogy for you on Sunday afternoon, boys.
Banger show, right?
I think it was phenomenal. We're really starting to hum here. We had a little debate. You were wrong on all your topics, but I appreciate you trying. And you're good. It was good getting a different perspective. Obviously, our first preseason, what we thought of it, what we expected of it, what we were hoping to see, and kind of breaking it down, giving again our two different perspectives on the situation. We'll see how this plays out for Kyle Trask, but things I think have turned not in his favor. Anthony, I think he's fine. He did what we expected him to do, and I think everyone else is pretty pleased with what he did. There wasn't much criticism coming out from his side. I think just because of how great his arm talent is, how big he is back there, it's hard not to be in awe when watching Anthony Richardson. And I think that's kind of what he dealt with yesterday. Tannehill is a lock as well, so Will has no pressure, so he's going to look good. Same goes for Stetson, in my opinion. Look, he knows he doesn't have to worry about starting. He just got out there and sling the football around. That's what he did. So it's hard to compare a Bryce Young and a Stetson Bennett. It's not even the same field, but it's still fun to do it. Okay. So good stuff though, man. Great show, great topics. It was a blast. Next week, I'm sure we'll be even more excited. And I think the last preseason week, it'll kind of dull down because it'll just be me and you going against each other out there, basically. But then at that point, it's college football. We've made it for real at that point. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, and we're going to do a college football recap show early, like probably 11 and 12 on Sunday. So it's going to be the double header on Sunday. You get twice the high top for the same price of
the price of one. And also we have our fantasy football league filled up 16 strong. Draft will be September 1st. So has everyone accepted their thing yet? No, the first.
No.
We moved it. Remember,
no, we're
Friday.
waiting on Dom and you know some of the known members have not accepted it. So they need to get on the ball.
They've all paid though. So it's September 1st. Remember we moved it to Friday.
Yeah. You're right.
It's okay. All right, boys. Great show. Professor, great work, Bubba. Good seeing you as always. You guys be good, be healthy. Happy Sunday to you. We're going to be on an all kinds of weather show tomorrow. I don't know if they're going live, but Dave and I will be on their show. It's the State of the Union address show they do. So we'll be on that show on Monday. We have our live show on Wednesday. There may be a show come from us on High Top tomorrow, depending on what happens with Media Day with the Gators. It's a busy week this week for the Gators. And we'll kind of keep you guys up to date on that. But till then, boys, you be good. Stay safe. I'm Sheldon.
I'm Cody, the professor.
Boogie, boogie, boys. Be good.
I'll show you what happens. Pass me the mic and I'll show you with action. I feel this pain, you already know. Turn that to gains, let my money show.